as I'm recording this, this is probably the lowest moment of my life. You know,
One of the age-old questions that I tend to like answering is always, is film school worth it? What do you get out of it? All this stuff, all this type of jazz. And my response has always been, I think for me, film school makes sense if you can afford it, and B, how it helps you learn, right? Like learning how to set up a frame, how to set up a camera, how to do anything, you can learn on YouTube. But the experience of getting to do it over and over again and getting feedback is something that's worth paying for, because unless you have people who can genuinely help you with that, you know. So that's the value of film school. But I think that question always comes from a, if I go to film school, am I guaranteed soon after that I'll be working? Am I guaranteed that, opportunities wait for me? I think that's the main reason we always ask the question, is this thing worth it? I remember when I was going to college, the question was always, are universities worth it? How much do they contribute to success? And people will be like, yes and no. Because I think there's a reality that exists outside of school. There's a reality that exists in the real world. So most of us are wondering, if I go through this, does it give me an edge when I come back to this? And I think that one thing that I've learned over my career is that education helps you with knowledge, but the thing that gets you as far as you want to go is yourself, in terms of your network, in terms of the opportunities that you expose yourself to, in terms of sometimes luck. And that's what contributes a lot to success. For me, as a recent graduate, I found myself stressed out, depressed to a point, because the question is, what's next? What do I do? And the film industry works in a way of, I did it, so you have to do it. And there are ways of jumping the line, but it's almost difficult to do that, because you're coming out of film school. We all want to make these $1 million projects. We all want to make work for Netflix shows, things that people watch, things that are relevant. But for me, I've had to take the humbling pie in the sense that, bro, you've made $0 films as a director, even as a DOP, and you want to jump that line and get to start making these $1 million projects. It's almost impractical or almost impossible, just because, when you're looking at it from a producer's perspective, it's how big is the risk of trusting this guy. And I recently saw an interview where this guy was like, from day one, if you're not a savant, if you're not one of those who were made for this, probably your way is gonna have to be working. Like he was talking about actors between being a movie star and being a working actor. And I think most of us, when we look at the film business, we look at it from the perspective of, I want to be a superstar. I want to be, like when you ask me, like, what type of what got you into wanting to be a cinematographer? It's like, I saw the work of Hoyt Voitema, I saw Greg Fraser, and you realize these are people at the top of the top. The Dickens, when you look at these guys and the works that they've done, it's inspirational. It's things that you aspire for. But then, as someone who's at the beginning of my career and looking at where they are, these guys are superstars, right? And I've had to go through this week just thinking to myself, what's it gonna take for me to get there? What's it gonna take for me to achieve that? And realizing, like, I don't actually know, because I don't think there are steps laid out. A lot of times with our work, it's judged by the work that you've done. And but it being a DOP, most of your work is attached to the director and the editor. And if a project goes wrong in the edit, people don't go, oh, those were nice shots. It's just that was a bad project, right? So those are the things that you worry about and think about, like, all right, what do I do? Do I go make music videos? Whose music video? Do I go and do interviews? How do I get those? Like, how do I access that? And I think that we live in a time where you have to be entrepreneurial, but like, the main thing is you're creative. I'm a creative. You don't want to deal with the business side of things. You want to create, and you want a platform that allows you to come out straight out of the gate and be like, all right, creators create, business-minded people be business-minded people. But nowadays, because we've mixed those lines, it can be depressive. And I wanted to talk to people about that. In this video, I want to talk about the feeling of being overwhelmed, especially in trying to pursue a goal, in trying to pursue something that you want. I've been feeling it. I don't want to lie. Like, I've just been going through a lot of stuff lately, in real life. Like, I made a video about my car. Working in the film business, having a vehicle is probably the most critical thing you need, because you constantly have to travel. And for me, it's been very hard, because it's like, all right, you have an opportunity that's downtown and you're like, all right, if I drove there, it'll be 20 minutes, but with transit, it's an hour. And then I have to go to this place. And when those things start happening, it's like, you're like, man, I cannot believe this is happening to me. And I know a car is not a major thing. I had a health scare. I had a lot of things happen, and those things put life in perspective in terms of, do I really have the time to invest, 10, 15 years into a career, and hopefully in 15 years time be at a level where I want to be, or where I need to be right now. I got debt, I got things like that, and it's been stressful. It's been mind altering, because it's like, in my mind, you're like, yo, what do I do? Do I do this YouTube thing? This thing doesn't give you as much return for the work that's required, right? And you're thinking, okay, what's next? So that's been a tough question, and I found myself going, maybe I should go back to what I was doing before I went to film school, because that was helping me pay the bills. But there's a reason that I left that to go to film school, and because that was not giving me life. I was feeling super drained. I was feeling super overwhelmed with life. Just the idea of showing up to work. I worked as an extra, and one major thing about working as an extra is you're just on set, right? Like, for some people it works, especially for actors, because they want to be actors, and they're getting robbed by the people that they look up to, people who are doing what they want to do. But for me, I didn't get the creativeness out of it. I wasn't doing the things that I love, which is creating a shot and telling a story, and having these ideas. And that's the reason why I was like, I need to get into this more. But now that you come out of it, and it's like, all right, you gotta start from the bottom. You gotta be a PA, and you're like, damn, man, PA. But yeah, I'm having to eat that humble pie and just go after the low hanging fruit and build from there, because I still have bills to pay. Life doesn't stop because you're pursuing a dream, and life doesn't stop because Kevin wants this, Kevin wants that. But at the end of the day, like I said in my past video, I'm just done trying to appease the algorithm to try and start making money from this, so that I can invest that into my projects. But just being authentic with you guys, like, it's been tough. Like, I never thought, like when you go set out to achieve something and you think to yourself, like, this is what I want, and then you get it, and it's like, damn, man, I'm at the bottom of another mountain and I have to climb it. And it feels like, when will I catch a break or stuff like that? Like, but the more you say it you feel like a victim. You feel like it's just not right. Like, I don't know how people express their feelings, but all I know is it's going to take work. It's going to take a lot of discipline, and you'll be seeing a lot of different works from me, because I feel like, for me, I don't want to make the mistakes that I've made in the past 10 years of just pursuing money and trying to get paid. But now I want to find my voice, and in a more of attract money rather than pursue it, in a more of develop my own voice, because being a filmmaker, it's a saturated field, it's a gifted field. It's a lot of people can do what I do. It's not like there's a lot that separates you. We all know the 3x structure. We all know that this is how you set a frame. This is how you tell a story. But what separates you is what you bring to the table in terms of your voice as an artist. So I feel like, for me, that's just the level where I'm at now. And I feel like, even when I think of these videos in terms of how to make them, like, I look at other people's videos that are very technical, and they teach, like, this is how you light a frame, this is how you do a thing. For me, like, I can't even make those type of videos, because how I light a situation is based on feeling, and in terms of how I see, like, I see art, I see photos in my head, and it's like, I'm going for that. I don't really like the rules, like film. Like, people will make these videos and be like, how to get the cinematic look. It's like there's no such thing as that. There's no cinematic look. There's just a look that you're going for in terms of your lighting. I mean, there are certain rules you have to hit exposure, but so that stuff like it's overwhelming because you're like, these guys are doing this, and you watch like BDS files. And you're like, why would you put a light there? Like that just doesn't work. And even when you're watching it, you're like, man, they pay people millions for this. But yeah. So this channel will be for people who are feeling overwhelmed, people who want to pursue these things but don't really know how. And I don't want to come off as an authoritative figure. I just wanted you guys to know that, I've been feeling it, man. Like, so is film school worth it? I don't know. At the end of the day, I got information that I need. But in terms of taking those next steps in my career, I have to become the cinematographer that I want to be, the filmmaker that I want to be. I just don't want to be a filmmaker, and follow a path laid out by certain people. Because I think they did it because they understood, but like sometimes it's like, yo, our situation is different, our needs are different, and that's just what does your life require from you?
And I say the lowest because just a few days ago I graduated. I got my film production diploma. It's a dream come true. It's the beginning of a beautiful career, I hope. But it's something that came with great sacrifice, something that came with just a lot of losses and difficulties. I'm at a moment in my life where I have to answer that question, what's next? And know that I don't have the answer to that question. And that is probably the most hardest thing to say, is to say, I don't know. I don't know what's next. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And it's scary because in this industry, the way it works, or the way that we've been told it works, you realize that after finishing climbing a hill, how high of another hill you have to climb, and the amount of obstacles that are in your way to getting to where you want to get to. So often it's easy when the obstacle is you. It's your limitations, it's your lack of knowledge, it's your lack of experience. Those things you can do something about. But when you're in an industry whereby somebody has to give you a chance, it's almost heartbreaking because you don't know if people like your style, you don't know what criteria people use to choose, right? And that is depressing. Like, I've been in bed for the past 4 days, can't get out, stressed out, thinking of, okay, school is done. How will I pay my rent? How will I do this? Where can I find work? How does this work? And like, I just spent a lot of money learning about this, but it feels like it's all gone.